And we are recording. So I'll just talk as if I'm talking to a few of you girls. So we're going to start seated. And if you have something to sit on, I'll let you a yoga block. The other gals, if you have a block, that's great. A block might be higher than you want to sit on, or it might feel wonderful. I have this, it's like I'll hold it up. It's a sponge, like a cinder block. It's made of firm sponge, and it's about 2 inches, 2.5 inches wide. And I love to sit on it because it has some give. It's just the right height. So I find a yoga block a little high to sit on. It might be perfect for you. A book can work, or a pillow. But sitting on something, again, this might not be your most comfortable way. Just finding what that is. What sitting on something, right, a little bit of a rise does, it just gives us a little bit of pelvic tilt, which in turn makes a little more room for the baby, as opposed to being flat on the floor. I'm not pregnant, but I feel more compression, more squishing there than if I lift up my hips. So just a little thing to try. And as you get bigger and that bump gets bigger, the baby gets bigger, maybe you want to explore sitting higher. Like, just play around with that. And the other thing that's really nice when we're sitting, yoga blocks or something above that height can be a really nice support under the knees if your knees feel kind of unsupported, because of course you get much looser in your joints when you're pregnant. So we have to watch that, right? Because it's easy to overextend the joints because of that. What's that hormone called? I read it. I've been reading about it and I forget the name of it, but it's loosens the joints, of course, for childbirth. So this is something to maybe try. Supports under your knees when you're sitting. If cross-legged doesn't work, do whatever. Just find your comfort, because yoga is all about your experience. It looks entirely different for you than for the next person. Your pregnancy is so unique. The way you feel is unique. Everything is special. So put supports wherever you need them. If you want something under your legs, if it feels good to have them stretched out, maybe something under your knees. So play with that. I really invite you to play with props, pillows, blankets, books, whatever you've got at hand, to just make yourself more comfortable. Even got a stuffed bear up there. He'd actually be really cozy under my knees, like a stuffy, whatever you got at your disposal. So having said all of that, find a nice seated position that's comfortable, that feels really nice in your hips, nice for baby, nice on your knees and your joints, where you can just kind of sink in, wiggle around if you need to, just looking for that really comfy place. Switch up your legs if you want to. There are no rules. It's all about listening. And in fact, there's a lovely word in yoga. As yoga teachers, we study something called, we study the philosophy of yoga. We study the 8 limbs of yoga. And it's very similar to the Aboriginal teepee teachings and the grandfather teachings. It even is similar to the 10 Commandments. Very, very fascinating how they line up. I wrote a paper on that. And Ahimsa is about non-harming, non-violence. Flipped around, that means self-care, self-love, self-compassion, self-forgiveness, staying out of judgment, right? Just treating yourself really, really gently. So important when you're pregnant, because there are 2 of you to treat with love. There's you and there's your baby, and the beautiful bond that you have together. So Ahimsa is a word you'll probably hear me say sometimes. I've made it the theme of all my teaching this week, the idea of Ahimsa. So maybe we can just bring that into tonight's teaching of what Ahimsa, self-care, self-love, self-compassion, forgiving oneself, what that means for you right now. So as we're sitting, bringing our focus to the breath, taking our hips into the earth, lifting up our hearts, lifting through the crown, bringing our thought to the idea of Ahimsa. It's spelled Ahimsa. If you need to visualize the word, that helps to have it visually. Just looking inward to see what Ahimsa means for you in this moment, for you and for baby. As we connect to the breath, as we feel the expansion of the inhale and the release of the exhale, As we connect to the earth, feel grounded with the energy of the earth, the gravity of the earth pulling us, inviting us downwards. The energy of the sun and the heavens is lifting us upwards. Cycle of life, the cycle of energy. Noticing what's coming up for you around Ahimsa. And also in yoga, we generally set an intention for the class, an intention for the hour or the time we're together on the mat. It can be a single word or a feeling. It can be a phrase, an affirmation, just something to focus on. Ahimsa might be that word for you, or something around Ahimsa. Maybe it's something like surrender or joy. Maybe it's simply deeply connecting with baby. So finding your intention, breathing it in, listening for what feels right, moving the way your heart wants to move. As we prepare your sacred, capable body to receive this life that's been gifted, this life that's growing inside. And I found a beautiful invocation. I'd like to read it to you. It is the following. Divine Mother, the Mother within, may I open myself fully to your guidance as my baby grows, as I surrender to my baby's birth, and as I walk the path that all mothers have walked before me. As we're sitting, focusing on the breath, I invite you to close your eyes, welcome your baby to his or her new home. Let your whole body feel the gratitude and warmth of this welcome and reside in that sweet space as you watch your breath flow in and out of your lungs. Feeling the expansion as we inhale. The release as we exhale. Our shoulders are back, our hearts are lifted. Our facial muscles are loose and relaxed as we breathe deeply around the baby, surrounding baby with our breath, with the energy of the breath, widening through the hips as we inhale, releasing to the earth as we exhale. And a very interesting piece of science, if you will, around birthing, perhaps you know this, but our pelvic floor is directly connected to our facial muscles and our shoulders. So when we learn to check in with our facial muscles between our brow, our lips, our tongue, our jaw, and tune into how our shoulders are doing, that becomes very important, especially in a natural childbirth, where we want to be able to relax the pelvic floor so the cervix can open, so we can relax and breathe into that space. So I'm going to talk a lot about relaxing the face, relaxing the shoulders, because that's becomes a very important piece that we want to become conscious of and aware of. So rolling our shoulders back. We're going to take a big breath in, opening up our arms big and wide as we inhale, lifting our hearts. And as we exhale, we'll wrap our arms around each other, one coming on top of the other, rolling our spine just a little bit and wrapping ourselves up in this big, beautiful hug of self-love. We'll breathe open, our arms open again. This is called Robin's breath. What a beautiful name. We'll exhale, wrapping the other arm on top as we give ourselves and baby a big, beautiful hug of welcome and love. One more each side, inhaling to open and absorb the love, the joy, the blessings, and exhale to sweep our arms across into that beautiful hug. And one more, inhaling to open. And exhaling to close. Lovely. Let's rub our hands together, create some warmth, some energy, some heat. And then gently take those hands, place them over the small of our back, inviting the elbows to point back, the shoulders to open, breathing into our hands. Sometimes lower back pain can come in pregnancy. This is a nice little thing to do. Just send some warmth and love and energy to that area. Our kidneys are back there. Our adrenal glands, our pancreas is kind of in the neighborhood. Lots of important stuff. The smaller backs, lots of muscles, and sometimes some tension, right? So sending love to that area. Let's breathe in to lift our hearts. Exhale to gently round the spine, watching baby, giving baby lots of room. Breathing up again. Our elbows are behind us like wings. We'll exhale to round down, just gently through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. We'll do 2 more of these little bitty back bends. Gently and lovingly, taking just as much as you need. Never more. Big piece of Ahimsa in yoga is to just and only take what you need. Never go beyond. I'm going to Eric. Okay. Houston, we have contact. We have Annalie joining us now. We'll just take a little breath here just to welcome her. While she gets settled, we're starting in a seated position, Annalie. And I was saying to Erin that whatever makes sitting in a seated position more comfortable, I'm sitting on this kind of 2-3 inch thick foam block, which raises my pelvis just a little bit, just makes a little more room. It might be something to try. Maybe it creates more room for baby. Maybe your legs feel nice crossed. Maybe they're more comfy, extended. Maybe a support under the knees. Maybe one leg in, one leg out. Doesn't matter. Yoga is all about finding your pose, your version, and especially with prenatal yoga, with how you are in this moment. Maybe there's some days when you just want to rest, and yoga might look for you like just sinking into poses and breathing. Maybe other days you have more energy and your yoga is about expressing more energy. It's so individual. So we're simply sitting and we're breathing. I explained a yoga word called Ahimsa. Ahimsa is a concept of non-harming, non-violence. Now we turn that over and we refer to it, we embrace it as self-love, self-compassion, forgiving oneself, tuning into what the self needs, non-judgment. So I'm going to be using the word Ahimsa from time to time. And this is all in the recording, which you'll receive as well. All right, ladies, let's take the soles of our feet together. This is called seated bound angle. And this is a lovely pose for pregnancy because it's gentle, opens up the hips. Maybe you're sitting on the floor, maybe you're on a block or a pillow or rolled up blanket with that little bit of pelvic tilt. And finding where your legs and feet feel better. Are they better a little farther away? Are they a little more comfy close up? Just again, creating space for baby, listening to that feeling, embracing baby, and noticing what feels best. We can add a little bit of butterfly wings if we like, if that feels good. This is about opening up the hips, sending lots of love and energy to the hips. I'm going to slip off my block here. So out of our bound angle pose, let's take one leg. I'm taking my right, I'm going to call it my left because I'm mirroring you in the camera. So we'll take that left leg up and over. With the bent knee, we'll cross it over the other bent knee. Taking the hand in front, the left hand behind us. That right arm can wrap around the knee, or we can bend the elbow. We have opportunity for a little more resistance this way. It might take us a little deeper into the twist, Again, please listen to your body, the needs of your baby. Prenatal yoga is so much about making space for baby, connecting with baby, and just really honoring that. So as we breathe into the twist, our hearts are lifted, our spines are long, our hips are sinking down. One more breath in the twist. Now we'll release that. Bring our hands towards that front ankle, foot, and just lowering our chest a little bit down. Again, listening to what it feels like. If this doesn't work for you, then just take less. It might just mean coming back to a straight body. It might mean a little bit of a reaching with the chest. Listening to your body, how much space you have down there. And let's come back to face our front. Bring the soles of our feet back together into our bound angle. Breathing into that hip opening. Lifting our hearts. One opportunity is to use some gentle pressure with the lower arm against the thighs, thighs against the arms. If you want a little resistance, if you want to get a little deeper in the opening, again, listening to what your body wants. I say that in every yoga class, but with prenatal yoga, I'm going to be really a nag about that. Really listening, it's so important. It's all about you and baby. Now we'll take that left leg this time. We'll take it across the bent right knee. The same thing on the other side. Wrapping the left arm around that front leg. Other hand behind. This is called half Lord of the Fish. A variation of this one, that one leg can be long if that feels more comfortable. Same pose, just a variation. Arms can be either way, with the elbow against the knee, or wrapping that knee with the arm, breathing into the twist, long through the spine, hips sinking into the earth. Now unwinding that, taking your fingertips towards that front foot, and maybe just turning back, or if it feels really comforting and welcoming, lowering the chest a little bit towards that front. Maybe rounding, again, find your version. And let's breathe that back up. Nice. Coming back to a seated position. If you were cross-legged before, I invite you to cross the other way. I don't know if you noticed this, but we do tend to always cross the same way, whether it's our arms or our fingers or our legs. So it's kind of fun for the brain to have a little bit of excitement to cross the opposite way. Kind of messes with your brain a little bit. That's really good. Okay, we're nice and tall. We're going to breathe our hands up. Big stretchy breaths. Exhale those hands down to heart center. Little tiny back bends. Rolling the spine a little bit. Make room for baby. Come only as far as feels really good. Breathing our hands back up. Exhaling hands down to heart center. If you wish, you can draw the belly button towards the spine to add a little bit of abdominal fun. We'll breathe that back up, reaching, stretching, welcoming, exhaling down. One more time. I'm just kind of intuitively squeezing my belly button towards my spine. I don't know if that would feel good if I was pregnant or not. So I'll leave that up to you girls. Let's breathe back up again. This time we'll turn to the right side, place the left hand on the right knee, the right arm behind, and go into a twist this way. Nice and tall through the spine. Taking a peek over that shoulder, breathing into our hips. Breathing into our belly, surrounding baby with the breath. And we'll breathe on back to center, up to the middle. And we'll exhale the same thing on the other side. The other hand goes on the opposite knee. Our gaze drops behind us. Interesting that our body will follow our gaze. So if we lead with our gaze, we might get a little deeper into a twist. Again, listening to what your body wants, what baby wants. Let's breathe back up to center. Exhale to that first side one more time. Into the twist, letting our gaze lead our body. And inhaling to center. Exhaling to that second side. Checking in on those facial muscles if they're really relaxed. Imagine you just got back from the dentist. Everything's loose down there. Breathing up to center. Let's exhale, fingertips down to the mat. We'll roll our shoulders back. Lift up our hearts, sinking our hips again. Let's breathe in together. Let's exhale, walk the right fingertips out to the side. Flip the left palm. Come up over the side body and keep that left hip connected to the floor as we look at the underside of our elbow. Looking at the elbow keeps us over the side body. If our gaze is front, we might tip forwards. We don't want to squish baby anymore. We want to be over the side body, making lots of room and inviting that opposite hip back to the earth. Let's breathe that back up on over. Exhale, fingertips to the mat. Walk them out. Flip the other palm and we'll do the other side. Slowly coming up, connecting the opposite hip to the earth and our gaze floating up towards that inner elbow. Breathing, relaxing the face. Relaxing between the brows, relaxing our jaw. Let's breathe on up. We'll do that one more each side. Fingertips to the mat. Walk them out, flip the palm. You got it. Over we go. Nice stretch for the spine. For the fascia, that line that runs down the side of our body, let's breathe back up and over. Exhale to the floor, walk it out exactly. Over we go. So nice. Breathing back up. Let's take our fingertips behind us now on the mat behind us. Maybe it's fingertips, maybe the palms of our hands are back there. Doesn't matter. What we want to do is lift up our hearts and invite our shoulder blades to kind of squeeze together back there. So we're really opening our chest and our hearts. We're going to breathe in as we lift our hearts, lift our smiles. Exhale to slowly roll down through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, going only as far as it feels good till you bump into baby. The baby says, nope, not going any further. Let's inhale back up. Exhale down. Nice gentle back bends for the spine. Inhaling back up as we lift our hearts. Oh, exhale to come over again. Back to the center. Extending now the right leg long. Keeping the left knee tucked in. Again, this is really nice in the hips because we're opening up the hips. Lots of room in front. Now let's turn our torsos towards our bent knee. Open up our wings, palms forward. Dropping that front pinky so it tickles the calf. Taking the gaze back towards the back hand, breathing in. Exhale, sweeping that arm across, following it with our gaze until it meets the front hand. So this is all about the breath. We're breathing to open, sweep open like a gate or a fan. Exhaling that fan closed. You can think of a flower, think of an accordion, whatever image in your mind helps to think about opening, following the hand with the gaze. Exhaling closed. And we'll open one more time. This time we'll take that hand, we'll plant it on the earth near the bent knee, the thigh. Now we're going to come up on that knee, reach across the diagonal, get really long, reaching from the fingertips right over to the toes, reaching until it feels really good. And let's draw some circles with that arm. I'll try not to knock my water bottle over. Big circles. I'm in a really tight space here. I may not look it, but it's very tight. So the breath is moving the arm, and now let's go the other direction with the arm. We'll switch it up. Gentle on the shoulder girdle, pressing into the earth with that knee and that foot. And this next time we'll sweep the arm all the way down, bring the hips to the floor with it. Down we go. That feels nice on the hips. And we'll switch sides. Extending the left leg long, keeping the right knee bent, the foot tucked in. We'll point our torsos towards that bent knee. Open up our wings, palms forward, fingers open, lowering that front hand so it tickles the shin bone of that front leg. Taking our gaze back as we inhale. Exhaling, sweeping that back hand all the way across till it meets the front hand. And again, our gaze is following the hand. Moving hand, leading the gaze leading the hand. Exhaling, closed. Yoga is all about the breath. Becoming aware of the breath, using the breath to guide us, to soothe us, to balance us, to ground us. Opening, sweeping it closed with the exhale. Now we'll breathe it open again, planting the hand this time like we did the first time on the floor, vicinity of that thigh, and we're going to come, I'm just adjusting myself, sorry, coming across the midline, across the diagonal. I'm off camera, but I'm reaching with my fingers, reaching with my toes. I'm going to back up a little bit. Big diagonal stretch here. This is called Stargazer Pose. Let's circle that arm gently, lovingly through the shoulder girdle. Just exploring, letting the breath move the arm. Deep breathing. Feels so good. We'll change direction of that arm. The breath is moving the arm as it sweeps in this big, beautiful circles. We'll do one more circle with the breath. This next one will bring our hips back down to the floor. Lovely. Okay, here's where it gets fun. We're going to plant our feet in front of us. And we're going to do Malasana. Malasana is a squat. Very, very beautiful pose for pregnancy. So if you have a yoga block, keep it close. You might want it, you might not. It's good to have it handy. As you get further along towards closer to due date, you're probably going to want to have your block nearby. Here's what Malasana looks like. We come up. First of all, just find the soles of your feet. Use your hands for support at first. Really finding the feet, the whole sole of the feet. Getting right over the feet. Now, if you're finding that it's not very comfortable, the option is to come up on the toes, right? If this is too much weight, too intense, here's where the block comes in. The block can slip right underneath the sacrum, and you can be completely supported. And that allows us to really get our feet on the earth. So again, different versions here for different days, for how you feel, and for different, how advanced in your pregnancy you are. So take the one that you need. I'm going to take the block away. I don't happen to be pregnant at the moment, but this is a gorgeous pose. It's opening up the hips, relaxing the pelvic floor. Let's make a prayer with our hands. Tuck our elbows into our knees. Again, it's okay if you're up on your toes. You need to have your fingertips down. Take it, whatever you need. If this one's available, explore it. And as we're here, let's lengthen the spine. Lift up through the crown. Sink our feet into the earth. Maybe imagine you're out in the grass. It's summertime. The grass is tickling your toes. You can feel the heat of the sun coming through the soles of your feet. And breathe into your pelvis. If this is squishy for baby, make any adjustments you need to. Making room for baby. Breathing around your baby, filling the baby space with love, energy, and warmth, and golden light. This is Malasana. All right. Let's take our fingertips on the floor. Come up, kind of move around till you're on the toes, pressing into the earth with the toes, lowering the heels, finding a forward fold. Now this might feel different for each of you. Probably feels different than it does for me. I don't have a baby in me. I don't have a bump. Working with what feels good. If it's nice to have your elbows on your knees, take that one if that feels a little more space for baby. We want to have our feet really connected to the earth. We want to be able to relax our neck. So whatever forward fold works for you, just kind of explore it. Maybe moving around a little bit. Maybe bending the knees a little more, side to side. Just exploring this fold. Breathing deeply. Coming to center now. Rooting the feet so deeply into the earth. Pressing through the feet as we slowly roll up, stacking our vertebrae, one on top of the other. Carefully, mindfully, taking it the way you need it to be. Coming up to standing. And we'll roll back our shoulders. Open the palms of our hands forward. Adjust the feet. I'm going to bring mine a little bit closer in so they're kind of shoulder width apart. This is called Tadasana or mountain pose. So mountain pose is powerful. We're sinking our feet into the earth, right? And let's add something to that. As we sink them down, let's dial them away from each other. What do I mean by that? I mean I'm pressing my feet down. The right foot is kind of turning out. The left foot is turning to the left side. So it's a little bit of an outward rotation of the hips. We're working down to the earth, dialing away from each other. And that's activating a lot of big muscles. You probably feel it in your hip flexors, maybe in your quads, maybe back in your glutes. Activating those big muscles to support our joints, which gets really important as we advance our pregnancies because, like I said earlier, that hormone is relaxing our joints. So we want our muscles to really support us here. So sinking those feet down, dial them out, rolling back the shoulders, lifting our hearts, tucking our tails a little bit, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the tongue. Mountain pose, Tadasana, majestic and tall, strong and tall at the peak, grounded and strong at the base, like a beautiful mountain. Send that strength to baby. Surround baby with the energy of Tadasana, of the mountain, connected with the earth. Let's breathe our hands up slowly. We'll steeple the fingers at the top and we'll tip over to the right side, sinking our left heel into the earth, looking up at the underside of the elbow, kind of like we did when we were sitting down. We'll inhale back up to center. Exhale to the other side, sinking the opposite foot into the earth, looking up at the underside of the elbow. This is called moon or reed pose. We inhale up, we exhale down and over. In yoga, we generally inhale on the up, exhale on the down. And exhaling to the side. Nice, coming back to center. Let's lower our hands down. Now, while we're standing and still feeling really strong, we're going to find a tree pose. So let's take all of our weight over to our right foot. Imagine there's beautiful red roots. We're going to be a tree, right? So there's roots from the sole of that foot twining, twirling down into the earth, wrapping around a big red stone in the center of the earth, maybe, getting so grounded, so rooted, and that other leg can find its place down by the floor, up under the knee. If you feel stable, we can take it above the knee. Never be afraid to grab onto a chair or the wall or a table, anything that's nearby. Find your version of tree. This can be tree. And as you get bigger in your belly, this might be more appealing than taking your center of balance higher. So just aware that your center of balance, everyone's told you this, look at mine already. It changes so much during pregnancy. So take precautions in your balance poses that there's something to hold on to. Finding whatever arms feel natural and beautiful. They can be up high. Your branches can be open. Heart center. Find your version of tree. Rooting down into that grounded foot. Finding a point in the distance to stare at, an unmoving point. We call it a drishti point. Helps us keep our balance. And ladies, the beauty of balance poses is pregnancy and beyond. When we work on our balance daily, it's a safety thing, especially as you get bigger and your center of gravity changes, right? We want to be able to catch ourselves if we lose our balance so we don't fall, right? So we're safer on the ice. Getting those little balls, the ears, to be where they want them to be. And let's shake that out. Lovely. You want to send some love taps to your legs, to your hips. Before we do the other side, let's put our hands on baby and just say hello again. Breathing in and around and through. Sending so much love to that beautiful little person that we're building. Breathing in love, breathing in Ahimsa. Including baby in your concept of Ahimsa, self-love, self-honoring, compassion, forgiveness, unconditional love for that little person. Now taking our weight over to the other foot. Maybe it's your left foot this time, whichever one you didn't do before. Finding those beautiful red roots winding down from the sole of your feet into the center of the earth, wrapping around that big red stone to ground ourselves, and that other foot finding its position. Again, don't be afraid to grab onto a chair, a wall, a table, your partner, and whatever arms feel beautiful to you on this side. Lifting up our hearts, relaxing those facial muscles, breathing into our bellies, rooting down through that standing leg to get our stability really stable, really connected. This is a beautiful pose for pregnancy. And like I said, adapting it as we go along, as we get bigger and heavier, just do whatever we need to modify, to change it, continuing to glorify in it, because it's just a lovely pose. 2 more breaths here. And let's release that. Shake it out. Grab a drink of water. I think it's time for some hydration. While we're still standing with our feet that shoulder width apart, let's breathe our hands up. Take our gaze with it, and we're going to drop our pelvis down like we're sitting in a chair. Just straight down. Doesn't matter how high the chair is. It could be a bar stool. It could be a kitchen chair. It could be a milking stool. Just sinking those hips down. Sinking the feet into the earth. Finding the place as far as how far forward or how far back you feel stable. Finding that place of stability. Being aware of baby. Making room for baby. Breathing. Let's breathe back up, reaching up to breathe in. Let's exhale, drop back into our chair. It could be the same chair. It could be a different chair, higher or lower, entirely your call. Finding one that feels really good. Finding that stability, rooting through our feet. We're working our big quadriceps here. I feel it in my calves as well. I feel my glutes and my hammies starting to kick in, rooting through the feet, feeling the toes on the floor. Let's breathe on back up. Now we'll prayer our hands. We're going to come down again, taking the right elbow over towards the left knee as we bend and take our gaze upwards. Again, making room for baby, whatever this looks like. One elbow's up, one elbow's pointing towards the earth, and we're breathing. Just as much twist as feels good. With the twist, we're also massaging our inner organs, which is actually a very beautiful thing in yoga. Little bonus prize. Let's inhale back up to center. We'll exhale to the other side, inviting that elbow down, direction knee or thigh or hip, whatever works for you, into your version of this twist. Let's breathe that back on up and take our hands down. Now taking a wider stance, and I want to say at this point, if you need a break, please take a break. You don't have to power through in any way. If you're tired, if you're feeling short of breath, please listen to that and take any break as long as you need, anytime. So let's take a nice wide stance. As wide as is comfortable. Let's fire up our fire sticks again. Get some warmth going in our hands. Lots of breath going. And we'll gently place those hands once again on the small of our backs. Take our wings backwards, our fairy wings. And now slowly lowering down, pivoting from the hips. This point right here where our waist meets our hips, that's where we're bending from, with a nice flat back. Down as far as it feels good at the flat back. Our wings are up, our butterfly wings, our fairy wings. Finding that flat back. When it's time to bend, you'll know when that is. Releasing, rolling through the spine. Knees can be soft if they want to be. Dropping down to the floor. If you want to take a block to put your hands on, that might be nice too. Some people like to rest their forehead on a block. The block might give you support as you get bigger and you don't want to kind of squish baby. So take whatever version of this you like in the forward fold. Hands to the floor or hands to a block. Dropping the head down if it's comfortable and breathing. Pressing through the feet, connecting with the earth. Breathing. Knees as soft as they want to be or straight. Listening to your body, maybe feeling a nice stretch through the inner thigh. Now let's slowly roll up to the spine a little bit. We're going to bring the feet a little closer together. Heels pointing in a bit. Rolling up. Bringing our arms, what we call goddess arms. Now checking that the knees are tracking over the feet. So this is a nice opening position for the hips. Sinking our feet into the earth, really grounded through the feet. Squeezing our shoulder blades together. Let's breathe in, straighten the legs, reaching up, starfish hands. Let's exhale down, bending the knees, squeezing the shoulders together. Feeling the feet sinking through the floor into the earth, breathing up. Exhaling down. Big full breaths, inhaling to reach. Sinking the feet down. We're always press the feet down, grounding them down, rooting them down. Exhaling. And let's do one more of these goddesses. And down. Let's take the hands all the way down to the outside of the back thighs, kind of the bottom of our butt there. A little bit of resistance if you wish. Opening the hips against the hands. Nice hip and opener. Let's lift up the left heel now. As we breathe in, let's exhale the heel down. Inhale the right heel up. Exhale down, really working through the feet, feeling the whole foot working, inhaling up with the heel, pressing it down on the exhale, and one more that other side. And down. Let's move our hands to the front now. We can add, if you wish, a little bit of gentle pressure against the inside of the thighs, thighs against the hands, hands against the thighs, really opening up the hips here. We can stay here or we can add those heels with the breath. Remember, we always inhale up, exhale down. tracking those knees over the feet. I'm feeling it in my big quad muscles, or my quad muscles, not that big. And it's opening up the hips. Let's do one more each side. And then come to straight legs, shake it out. Let's bump the hips side to side. That feels good. Let's do some hip circles. Hula hoop dancing. That'd be a good thing when you're pregnant, actually, wouldn't it? Hula hoops. Because boy, you're working the hips. Let's change direction. Sinking the feet into the floor. Do whatever you want with your arms. Whatever feels good. All right, ladies, let's meet at the front of the mat. Taking a giant step back, I'm going to say the right foot. With one foot, turning that foot towards the front, towards the camera. So it's parallel with the short end of the mat, and our front knee takes a bend. Kind of like a right angle, close to that anyway. Our hips are open. We're turning our torso towards that front bent knee, opening up our arms, palms down, big reach into the beautiful warrior two pose, which is such a powerful pose. This is a great pose for pregnancy because it really enables us to feel our power, to embrace and enhance our power. So reaching, pressing through the feet, so strong because we're all warriors. Let's breathe in to reach. Let's exhale, bend that front elbow on the knee, come over the side with that top arm, looking again up at that elbow. This is called side angle pose. Let's breathe that arm back up. We're going to travel through our warrior two position. That back hand's going to float down towards the knee, and that top hand's coming over, and we're looking up once again into exalted warrior. Option two, if that backhand wants, it can wrap around the waist, if that feels lovely. Let's do one more of these flows. We'll breathe in as you travel through our warrior two. We'll exhale, bend that front elbow, come over into our side angle. Feeling that lovely stretch in the spine. Inhaling, traveling, flowing through our warrior two. Exhaling that backhand down or wrapping it around the waist into our exalted warrior. Beautiful. Coming back to our warrior two. Taking both feet to face the front. Now we'll change sides simply by pivoting that right foot along to the mat. So we're in the reverse now, what we were before. I'm going to say it's actually my left foot, but it's to you, it looks like my right foot is parallel to the short end of the mat. I'm bending that front knee, finding that right angle, pressing through the feet, right? It's all about the feet and the breath. Opening up our arms, palms down into our beautiful, strong warrior two. Reaching with our warrior two. Let's breathe in to reach. Let's exhale, slowly bending that front elbow, coming over the top, sweeping that arm across into our side angle pose. Finding our breath here. Looking up at that elbow. Now flowing back into our warrior two with the breath. And exhaling that backhand down or wrapping it around the waist, whatever feels lovely. As we find our exalted warrior, we're throwing away our weapon. Back it goes. So powerful. I love the idea of warrior women. Breathing back into our warrior two. Exhaling to bend that front elbow, coming over the top, flowing with the breath. Inhaling warrior two. Exhaling over the top, sweeping back with that hand. Exalted warrior. Let's come on back to our warrior two. Bring both feet to face the front. Finding one more wide stance forward fold. Hands are back again, flat back. The wide-legged forward fold is really nice for pregnancy. Lots of room for baby. Find your version. Maybe your hands come to your knees. Maybe again, they come to a block. Maybe they come to the floor. Pressing through the feet, making lots of room for baby. Breathing into your belly and your back. Pressing through the feet, really grounding with them. So nice. Let's press with the hands. So we're rising our chest back up. Heel and toe the feet inwards. And we're going to make our way onto our hands and knees. Whatever that means, get there however you want. This is called tabletop pose. So we've got our shoulders over our hands, our hips over our knees. Let's press our hands into the earth. Let's dial them away from each other so we feel the shoulders opening. Let's press our shoelaces into the earth, into the floor. Why not? Feel what happens when we add that activation. Pressing the hands down and dialing them away from each other, pressing the shoelaces. Now let's breathe in as we lift our hearts, lift our gaze. Exhale to round the spine, tuck our tails. This is called cat-cow pose. Beautiful pose for pregnancy. We'll inhale our hearts up, relaxing our facial muscles. Exhaling to roll down, gentle back bend. 2 more, inhaling and exhaling. Last one, inhaling up, exhaling down. Coming back to neutral, let's do some nice hip circles. Taking the hips in big, beautiful circles. First one way. Finding the sweet spots. Working through the hips. We'll change direction, go the other way. The breath is moving the hips. Big, beautiful circles. And this comes in handy, these circles, when it's birthing time. Boy, did I do circles, hip circles, pelvic circles, when I was giving birth. It was great. Coming back, I'm serious, it was great. Back to our tabletop. Take the left hand, palm up, sliding it along the floor, fingernails sliding along the floor, lowering that left shoulder to the earth. Or if it doesn't want to go that far, you can lower it to a block or a pillow. This is called thread the needle. Taking what you need. It's a little gentle twist. We're dropping our head lower than our heart, which is called a recovery position when our head is lower than our heart. Again, with baby there, make whatever adjustments you need to, so there's lots of room for baby. If it feels nice, that right arm can slip back behind the waist. Lots of possibilities here for thread the needle. Breathing around baby, breathing into our backs. Two more breaths. And one more. Now we'll slide that left hand gently back on through. We'll plant it. I'm just going to flip around so I'll be facing you again. Planting that hand, we're going to do the same thing with the right hand. Taking it, palm upwards, sliding it through that gateway that we created with the other arm. Sliding it along the floor, palm upwards, slowly lowering that shoulder to the earth, to a pillow, to a block. Whatever feels lovely, and to thread the needle. When you get there, we're breathing. Maybe that front hand wants to wrap around the waist for a little more opening of the shoulder. Maybe it wants to stay grounded in front. Just exploring. Yoga is an exploration. Two more breaths. Lovely. Let's slowly come out of that by inviting that hand to slide on back through. And while we're down here, taking our knees to the long sides of the mat, keeping our toes touching in the middle, lowering our hips down onto the back of our feet. And if it feels nice, we can reach forward and invite our third eye between the brows down to the mat or to a block. That connection of the third eye is very, very soothing. And right behind that point is our pineal gland, which is a very important gland in our endocrine system. So that gentle soothing pressure on the third eye is also activating our pineal gland, which is a fun fact. Breathing into our belly, surrounding our baby with love and light. Coming slowly, rising out of that. Use your hands for support to get back up. Now we're going to transition slowly into Shavasana. If you're new to yoga, Shavasana translates as corpse pose, which is kind of funny. It's simply the final relaxation pose in yoga. Now, in prenatal yoga, we don't spend a lot of time on our backs. Normally, we see people in Shavasana on our backs. There's some other nice options. If lying on your back is still comfortable for you, with the support of pillows, blankets, under the small of your back, under your knees, under your head, absolutely take that. If it's nicer to be on your side, maybe a pillow between your knees, a pillow under your head, that's lovely. Another option, some people in pregnancy love, or even not pregnancy, legs up the wall. This is a really lovely one for circulation. When you're pregnant, it's nice to, I'm just going to show you to you. It's nice to have a small block or a blanket under the hips. We simply scooch towards the wall. It's really hard to talk while I'm doing this. Scooching hips towards the wall, working our legs up along the wall. And with the pillow or the block, we're raising our pelvis just that little bit, making a little more room for baby. And this is beautiful because it's so good for our circulation. It's good for our thyroid. And as we get bigger with pregnancy, it just alleviates some of that pressure of the baby on our lower body. So whatever Shavasana pose appeals to you, I invite you just to find it, whether it's on your side, supported on your back, legs up the wall. I'm just going to sit here while you find your Shavasana. If you have music playing, you can turn it up if you wish. Entirely your moment. Breathing deeply and allowing every single part of your body to become completely relaxed. Imagine that you are able to be in the womb, seeing your child. Picture the baby in a way that brings you joy. You may see the baby floating peacefully inside the womb, or just the way you think he or she may look. Simply enjoy being with your baby in this place. If you find your mind wandering in different directions, just remembering to focus on your beautiful baby. Keeping your body and mind completely relaxed as you share your love with your baby. You can do this by talking to your baby, by singing to your baby, whispering to your baby. You may even ask your baby questions and imagine the answers. There's a deep pool of wisdom there. Ask anything you want. Perhaps what he or she wants from you, or what will make he or she happy. The emphasis is on the love that you have for your baby and sharing that love. Telling yourself that you are going to give your baby anything and everything he or she needs to grow up and be healthy. You're giving your baby all the nutrients he or she needs. Your body is made to give birth, and your baby, as well as your body, grows stronger every day. Think about how grateful you are for the miracle that you have created. Now, as we return to the breath, saying a gentle and loving goodbye to your baby just for now, telling your baby that you'll visit again soon. Maybe beginning to bring some movement into the neck. Maybe drawing a circle in the air with your nose, or a line in the air with your nose, from one side all the way across to the other. Maybe bringing some gentle movement into your hands and your feet, your fingers and your toes, your ankles, your wrists. Coming back to the breath. Coming back to Ahimsa. Finding that word or that phrase or the color that at the beginning of the practice shaped for you your sense of Ahimsa in this moment. Self-care, self-love, self-respect, honoring, self-forgiveness, self-compassion, unconditional love and compassion for your baby, for the gift of the miracle that is your baby. Breathing into that miracle, into that sense of Ahimsa. Now I invite you to slowly, entirely in your own way, coming through, lying on your side if that feels good. We're going to meet again on the mat in seated position. Take your time. Take what you need getting there. Find your own way. Excuse me. And when we get there, taking a drink's a great idea. Sinking your hips back into the earth. Lifting our hearts, relaxing our facial muscles into a little bit of a smile. With our palms open, seeing that word of Ahimsa, that feeling, that color, that concept, seeing it in both of our hands as two beautiful balls of shimmering white energy light. Let's breathe in as we lift our hands, our Ahimsa upwards, offering it, honoring it, embracing it, exhaling it down to our heart center, down to our sacred place. And again, we'll lift it up to the heavens, giving thanks, exhaling it down. Our Ahimsa. And one more time to reach up as we lift it, embrace it, offer it, give thanks for it. Exhaling it down to our sacred heart space. And this time, let's just tuck it into our heart space, keeping it warm and safe and loved, where it will trickle down to embrace baby, to enfold baby with your compassion, your love, your self-love. Thank you so much, ladies, for giving me the honor of guiding you through this practice this evening. We'll keep the meeting open for a little bit if the two of you want to get to know each other, if you want to chat. If either of you needs to go, that's just fine too. But before we do so, we'll say thank you. The light in me honors and sees the light in you. We'll say namaste. I will turn off the recording. I invite you to open up your microphones if you have a few minutes. If not, we can just say goodbye. Just taking what you need here as well. This whole practice